Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of It Goes Off. We've just finished round 21 and what a round it was. There's only 4 games in the round and the Sydney Kings back in business. They're only their second win in 2013, Grantley, but it was an impressive one against a team that you had locked into the playoffs, and I scoffed at you and it's proven to be my scoffing was correct.
I think just at the minute your scoffing is holding up, and I think the Crocs are just about cooked.
They were very disappointing against the Sydney Kings. A big game for them. We're going to have a look at the run home and the ladder and a little bit later in the program. And I mean, they do still have a chance to get there, but their form would suggest that they're not going to do that. But Grantley, there was only 4 games in the round. Talk us through all the winners and losers.
First game was over in New Zealand. It was the Breakers 104 over the Adelaide 36ers 79. Cedric Jackson, 18 points for the Breakers. The Breakers shot at 41 of 66 from the field, which is 62%, and they were 12 of 25 on 3-point field goals for the Sixers. Anthony Petrie had 16 points. The Sixers themselves shot well from outside the arc, 7 of 14. The Cairns Taipans in something of an upset over the Perth Wildcats, 78-72. Cam Glidden, a massive game, 26 points, 4 of 6 on 3-point field goals. Kevin Lish had 20 for the Wildcats. The Melbourne Tigers, 82. The Wollongong Hawks, 88. This was a bit of a blow for the Tigers. Chris Golding had 21 points. No Seth Scott in uniform. Johnny Flynn got injured and only played 23 minutes. For the Hawks, Idris DeLeon, 31 points, 5 of 8 from behind the 3-point line, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. The Hawks put together a 29-14 third quarter to get into position to win that one. Finally, the Sydney Kings, 83 over the Townsville Crocodiles, 67. Ben Madgen, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. The Kings had a 20-7 third quarter. Peter Crawford, 22 points for the Crocs.
It's going to be a tough week to pick Player of the Week. 2 outstanding performances, and I was there on Saturday night to see the Idris DeLeon show, and he has really stepped up big time for the Wollongong Hawks and given them a real good chance now of making the playoffs. Now,
if they had a second half of the season MVP, I think he might be it.
Idris DeLeon would be right there, and we can go back to the tape because there's been a couple of tweets coming in about my support for the Wollongong Hawks, and most people appreciate that a couple of weeks ago I locked them in. But there are some people that just have ears that are painted on and perhaps don't hear. But we won't get into that. We want to have a look at the NBL.
You're a little bit upset. Has someone called you out?
Well, they've called me out.
Has someone queried you on what you've actually said?
They have. They queried that my support of the Wollongong Hawks when you were here, and I think you scoffed at me when I locked in the Wollongong Hawks, given their run home.
I don't know that you locked them in.
I locked them in with the Melbourne Tigers. I'm getting very wobbly with the Melbourne Tigers because
I thought you had the Sydney Kings in.
No, not after the halfway point.
I think...
I'm just talking 2-3 weeks ago, Grantley. But Grantley, let's just familiarise ourselves with the NBL ladder because it speaks to the heart of what we're talking about. And as we have a look at it, the New Zealand Breakers, well, they have locked in first place, you would think. Perhaps mathematically they have a chance to tumble out of top place, but they would have to lose every game. And the Perth Wildcats would have to win every game, including the game at home against the New Zealand Breakers. Highly unlikely, so you heard it here first. Locking the New Zealand Breakers. The Perth Wildcats, they are going to lock in second place. Then it is a lottery, still a lottery. The Wollongong Hawks, I think, are going to make it. The Sydney Kings, I don't think are going to make it. I think that they're going to be very, very close. The only good news for the Sydney Kings is that they have the split on the Melbourne Tigers, but... I just think if the Tigers can get over some of their injury problems that they should get there, but it's going to be tight. Tigers, as you see, 10-13. Cairns, let's not forget about them, 9-14, and what a win it was on the weekend. Congratulations to Aaron Fern and Cam Glidden, just a superb individual performance. Townsville gone, Adelaide 36ers gone and have been gone for quite some time, Grantley.
Yes.
Gone. Well, you know, we've just looked at the NBL table, and I think right now it's timely to have a look at the run home of some of these teams because it's an important part of the season, and matchups, spreads, all that type of language is going to come into the equation very, very soon. But firstly, let's just forget about the New Zealand Breakers and the Perth Wildcats. Lock them in 1 and 2. Then it is a mosh pit. Up next, we've got the Melbourne Tigers, and they have got the New Zealand Breakers twice, Grantley, Townsville twice, and Cairns. Tough run home.
I just don't see how you can put your Melbourne Tigers in there. Well, not when they've got New Zealand twice, and they've got to go on the road to Townsville and Cairns. No.
That is a valid point. I'm banking on the fact that I think they're going to beat Townsville twice, and I think they'll beat Cairns. That's what my thinking is, but it quite easily could be wrong. Wollongong Hawks, that is a very effective run home because they're up against Townsville and Sydney, two of the people that they'll be competing with, and both, well, the Townsville game's at home, the Sydney one's on the road, but that's just up the road, literally.
Actually, the Townsville one's on the road and the Sydney one's at home.
That's what I meant to say. And then they've got Adelaide at home. So I think they're going to get all three of those, particularly the way Idriss de Lyon is getting it done. The Sydney Kings, another one, hard to predict. I don't think they can beat Perth. And then they've got Wollongong away, which I don't think...
You just said Wollongong was going to win that.
That's what I said. I don't think they can win
Sydney
that.
will lose it.
Correct.
Right.
And then the Townsville one at home. And then Cairns, I've ruled them out. Townsville, I've ruled them out. So you've got three teams, 1, 2, 3, vying for 2 spots. And the way I see it, it's the Melbourne Tigers and Wollongong Hawks. How do you see it, Grantley?
I like Wollongong, and I think... Oh boy, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up.
It could come down to that split.
Yeah.
And that's where it's an extra game in the bag the Sydney Kings have because they have that split. I'm not sure how many, but they do have the split.
I mean, clearly that Wollongong game at Wollongong is going to be the pivotal game for Sydney.
Well, it's exciting times for all those teams. Nervous times, I might add, because although the Perth Wildcats and the New Zealand Breakers have been very, very dominant, you sneak into the playoffs, and we've seen it in the past, anything can happen. Unlikely, but anything can happen. Grantley, there's plenty of issues bouncing around the INET NBL competition, and we'd like to address them in a little segment we call Tick It Off. And I want to start with the Melbourne Tigers and the injury concerns. Seth Scott tweaked his back, didn't play against the Wollongong Hawks, and then, of course, Johnny Flynn goes down with an ankle injury. The impact that they have on the Tigers, clearly they weren't at full strength, and you take nothing away from the Wollongong Hawks' very gutsy win on the road, but I think it highlights the importance of Seth Scott and Johnny Flynn to the Tigers.
Oh, no question. I mean, Scott's been a really good, solid, game-by-game import. And then Flynn comes in, did a great job, done a great job all season. So, in a league where the value and the quality of the imports has been a bit variable the last few seasons, they have been fantastic for the Tigers. Now, if you haven't got one of them, you're in trouble against New Zealand. If you haven't got both of them against New Zealand, even bigger trouble.
Hey, Grantley, Player of the Month. It was an exciting month, and yet again, Cedric Jackson, the dynamo from the New Zealand Breakers, he just continues just to keep on keeping on and get the job done for the Breakers. And when you talk about an impact player and someone that's that really has set the tempo for their team, hard to find any better than Cedric Jackson.
He has been fantastic, and we've kind of talked a bit about MVPs, and people come up, Madgen's name comes up, and various people. But I can't see how we can go past Cedric Jackson.
Very difficult.
He has been A1 from the tip-off of the season and has hardly had a below-par game.
No, that's right. So congratulations to him. And the other announcement for Coach of the Month was Rob Beveridge. Their team, I think, was 6-1, 5-1 throughout the month. And Rob Beveridge, again, has done some great things with the Perth Wildcats. With a roster at the start of the season, I actually thought that they weren't going to be quite as good as what they were when they went to the Grand Final Series last year. The loss of Luke Neville I thought was going to be a big blow. But Rob Beveridge is playing a style that's perfectly suited to the talent that he has.
Oh, look, and Perth is a quality team. They've got quality players, they all play hard. And the way Bevo kind of coaches, it's kind of in a relaxed manner. He's got faith in his players. they have confidence in him. It's a really good mix.
I sort of related it, I said this on the commentary a couple of weeks ago, they have that, if you go back in time to the Adelaide 36ers when Phil Smythe was coaching them, the way in which the players play, very loose, very confident out there, it seems like he instills a lot of confidence in his players and they really love to play for him.
Yeah, and Phil was very laid back. He would, be on the bench and he would just let them play. And that's as simple as got. When you've got a good team, you just roll the balls out and let them go. And that's, I guess that's the sign of a good team is that's what they look like they do. But there's structure, there's discipline, there's all those things that you do actually need to be a good team.
Well, they are a great team, and great teams sometimes bring out the best in their opponents. And on last Friday night, the Perth Wildcats brought out the best in the Cairns Taipans. Real back-to-the-wall type stuff by the Taipans. And it was Cameron Glidden, the young fella who's been very good, played a lot for the Cairns Taipans right throughout the year. But it was almost a coming-out party for young Cam Glidden because he did it in a variety of different ways. He guarded Kevin Lish for a strong portion of the game. He distributed the ball, and most importantly, he shot it very well.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, at all.
No.
But have you been following Cam Glidden's progress at all, Grantley?
He is. He's averaged about 6.5 points a game. So this was one right out of the box. And obviously it's going to push him up for Rookie of the Year honours. And but I guess that's a great sign for next season that he's shown he can have a big game like this. So now he starts thinking, well, why can't I do that more often? So keep an eye on that. And
just quickly, do you read much into the loss by the Perth Wildcats to the Cairns Taipans? Because not many people gave him much of a chance up there. And do you read much into it, or it's just an aberration, just one of those things where the Taipans played well?
Yep.
Don't read much into it, in other words. Short, sweet, succinct, and to the point. We like that here. And we love to get your feedback, because we've had our say, but we want to hear from the good folk out there. And the best way to contact us is through the NBL Facebook page, going off lately. And then the Twitter page, Twitter account, Andrew Gaze 10, Grantley Bernard. We do check it. It may not sound like it, but we do check it regularly, and we want to hear your feedback. In a little segment, we call
the Mark
Zuckerberg Minute, in honour of the great inventor of Facebook. And Grantley, we've got a prize on offer that is just going to get the Twitter and Facebook humming. And that is, what is it, Grantley?
It is a subscription.
That's it.
To NBL TV. It's for the rest of the regular season.
Spot on.
It's for the playoffs.
Indeed.
It's for the off-season, so you can watch the Boomers and the Opals. You can just go nuts on replays, whatever you like.
On the computer, plug the computer in the telly. Oh, sensational stuff. Started off with Charlie Holmes. G'day, Charles. Is Charlie male or female, do you think? Doesn't matter.
That that's her photo above her there on the page. It should be a female.
Charlie, do you think Ben Madgen can make the Boomers squad? Well, if you're there on Sunday, you would have seen I saw firsthand what Ben Madgen is capable of. And this country is lacking someone that can just knock down the perimeter shot. The flat-out shooters, they're not there like they used to be. And he fits that mould. He can
probably been about 8 years.
8, maybe 7 or 8 years since we've really seen someone of, like Shane Heal.
Shoot the ball.
That could actually, when they're open, knock down a shot. And Ben Madgen is a beauty. He can put it to the floor as well, Grantley, and he plays good D.
So
really,
he's actually just not one-dimensional.
He is not one-dimensional. Plays with great heart and determination, and by all reports is one of the hardest workers going around. So I think he has a chance to become a Boomer, Grantley.
Oh, without question. I think he's going to be on the radar of whoever the new Boomers coach is. When they call together their first squad of however many that's going to be, I think Ben Madgen's going to be one of the first names on the list.
You would think so. He's definitely in the squad. He was in the squad last year. It was a pretty deep squad for the Olympic campaign, but I certainly think
he's a better player than he was 12 months ago.
Yes. Next up, we have got Josh Carroll. Here's an interesting one. A lot of Sydney Kings fans tweeting us.
You think Josh is a male or a female?
I think Josh is a male myself.
Yep.
But Josh, g'day. Is Darnell Azar a better import for the Kings than Jari Grant? That is a very good question because Jari Grant, I thought, was really showing some promise last season. A big fella, really athletic, and I think there's some similarities between the two. I think that Darnell Lazar perhaps got a bit more range on his shot, but very similar, I think, across the season in their contribution to the team.
Similar but different?
Well, not that different is what I think I said.
Yeah, I think they are, like you say, Lazar's probably a bit more experienced than Grant was. Grant was probably, I guess, more entertaining, athletic, capable of the more spectacular plays. And it's a pity that he didn't stay on in the NBL. But having said, I mean, Lazar's been fantastic for the Kings. You know, as we said before, the quality of the imports has been variable over the last few years. He's been solid.
He's been solid and coming off the bench a lot too. He starts some games, he doesn't start other games. He's playing starter minutes in most of the outings, but he looks like a real good guy to have around the group. This is the outside looking in, so I think they've both been very good. But Grantley, now it's your time to give out this NBL TV prize. We had some cracking questions this week, so terrific. I mean, we've got pages of questions, so apologies that we can't get to them all. But Grantley, who are we going to go with?
I think that we should go with Charlie.
Charlie! There you go, Charles. You're going to pick up the
NBL
TV. Terrific stuff.
Subscription. It's not actually a TV, it's a subscription to NBL TV.
That's right. Yeah. If you don't have the internet and you don't have the computer,
bad luck.
You're bugging. But pretty we reckon you've got it.
Hey, how do you reckon they're watching us?
That's what I'm saying. I reckon you're a strong chance to have those if you've actually emailed us in or tweeted or Facebook, whatever it is. So there it is. Terrific stuff. Now, Grantley, each and every year there's one night on the basketball calendar that everyone just locks in because it is a cracking night.
Your birthday.
No, it's not. It's on March the 24th and it's going to be at the beautiful Crown Casino in Melbourne in the Palladium Room. This is the room where all the big events take place and it's going to be a night of hoops. And it's the MVP Awards night for both the WNBL, the NBL, the International Awards are presented. It is just the All-Star Five, some men and women. It is going to be a who's who of the basketball community and a who's who of the entertainment. Everyone wants to be here, and there's going to be some cracking entertainment going on. A couple of years ago, we had Guy Sebastian. Last year, we had Timbo Matic. He was just rocked the joint. We're getting through this. Time is against us. So we need to figure out, in round 22's coming up, where's all the action going to be at? Please, people want to go out there and get their team over the line and they need to know where they go.
All right, week 22 starts in New Zealand on Thursday night. It's the Breakers against the Cairns Taipans. On Friday, way out west, it's the Perth Wildcats against the Sydney Kings. That is on 1 at 9:30 right around the country. On Saturday, the Adelaide 36ers against the Cairns Taipans and the Townsville Crocodiles against the Wollongong Hawks. The Crocs, they could win that one and still be in the playoff race. And on Sunday, the Melbourne Tigers against the New Zealand Breakers at Hisense Arena. And that one is going to be shown nationally around the country on 10 at 1 o'clock. It
is. And Grantley, are you officially off? You were so hard and adamant last week the Townsville were going to make the playoffs. Are you officially off?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you're still with them.
You've got to stick fat till the end.
Okay, good. I like that. So we have time for this week, and before we go, as we do every week, we need to say thanks that deserve to be thanked. And it all starts with the naming rights sponsor, iNet.
Connect better.
10.
And 1.
Spalding.
And far.
And Virgin Australia. Grantley, you've been fantastic today, but before we go, just got to remind people that we're at the getting to the pointy end of the NBL season, but the WNBL is at its sharpest. We've got the grand final on Sunday, and it's going to be live on the ABC. Tip-off is at 3:45, so you can watch the NBL game on 10, turn the dial onto the ABC, and check out the WNBL grand final.
Bendigo against Townsville.
It is going to be a belter of a game. Two terrific teams. Christy Howard, I've got a little soft spot for the veteran. And she has just been amazing for Australian basketball for many years. So I am hoping that Bendigo can win one for her. Not that I'm not trying to write her off just yet, Grantley, but she's got a lot of basketball left in her. But
I wouldn't say a lot.
She's got a bit of basketball, hopefully, left in her.
At least 40 minutes.
That's all she needs.
Yeah.
So we look forward to that. Grantley, we hope to have you again and see you next week on the #1 podcast in the universe. And you know what it's called? It Goes Off. Yeah.